Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. My name is Don Daniel, founder of Pill Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. And for 17 years, we've been doing exactly that, helping people to understand how banks make their money through charging interest. I mean, exorbitant amounts of interest, but the way that they do it, there is a weakness in their system, and we're here to exploit those weaknesses so that we can borrow money at a discount. Oh man, there is a way to borrow money that you can mathematically save the most money in interest that is possible. Now, there are different ways to pay off debt. There are different ways to save interest. But do you want to save some interest, or do you want to save the most interest that you can possibly save for yourself, and then learn how to invest that money that you didn't have to pay the bank? If you do this, if you do it the right way, how would you like to recoup every single cent of interest you've ever paid in life? In fact, what I call that is a virtual 0% interest loan. Yes, you pay interest now, but the money that you don't pay in interest, that you're contracted to pay, what if you could track that amount of money and be intentional about investing the money that you save? And if you do that, you can actually make way more money in interest than you've ever paid in life. Get it all back and then some. That's what we're talking about today. So folks, listen, if you have a question or comment about what we're going to be talking about today, raise your hand, come to the stage. And I'm going to be going in and out because I'm fighting this thing. We went to DC this past weekend, weekend for a wedding, and I got this thing. It's a scratchy throat, headache, body aches. Is anybody else suffering from that? You know, but I'm feeling better today, but I still have a residual cough. So sometimes I'm gonna have to turn the mic off so I can, do what I have to do so I can continue on. But please, I'm grateful for everybody here on stage in Clubhouse. Go ahead, start inviting some other people in, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So first of all, let me put on the top, I'm going to put up here, pin a link to the top, ice10k.com. And the reason why I'm putting it up here, ice, the number 10, the letter K.com. The reason why I'm putting it up there is so that as we get into the show today, and you want to know how you can get these resources, how you can get the book, how you can get a savings and earnings report, how you can know the month, day, and year you're going to be debt free. All of that is in this resource here, my digital business card. Plus, there's a video there of Dr. Eric Thomas and how he paid off his mortgage using the P.I.L.L method. So, folks, we're going to get into this thing right now. But what I would like for you to do is, if you're on stage and you just want to listen, raise your hand, come to the stage and listen from the stage. Why do we ask you to do that? Because all the people that are following you will see it as soon as you hit the stage. And then that way they will be encouraged to come in to the room as well to learn what you're learning. Okay? To learn what you're learning. So raise your hand, come to the stage. So LaShawna, I see you here. You're in here quite a bit. So I'm going to invite you up, and you don't have to say anything. You just come to the stage and sit up here and help us out that way. All right. Go ahead and come to the stage, ask your questions. And if you do have a question or a comment, we'll be glad to hear it. Miss LaShawna, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing well, doing well, doing well. Do you have a question or a comment, or you just like to hang out with us up here?
I just want to hang out with you. I've been rocking with you for like a year and a half now, and I am a new homeowner as of August of 2021. So I've just been taking notes, taking inventory, and I know at the right time I am going to contact your office for further services. But yeah, every chance I'm able to get into the room, I get in here, and it's always a blessing. It's always some gems being dropped. So I
Listen,
yield my mic.
I appreciate that so very much, but I got just one question. When is the best time? When is the best time to start saving money?
Oh, right now.
Okay. So I'm looking forward to you clicking on that link up above and clicking that link that says "Get a Savings and Earnings Report." It costs nothing to find out the month, day, and year you could be debt free, and how much interest you could save. Here's one thing I want everybody to focus in on right now. When it comes to managing your credit, hi Annette, how are you doing? Come on, I haven't seen you in a while. You need to come up to the stage too and just hang out with us. Look at you, Miss Annette Foster. I see you there. So come on up, just hang out with us and let the people who follow you come on into the room. So folks, here's what we're doing. You need to understand one thing. To manage your credit, you don't need more money. You just need to know how to pay less interest. They're two different things. Okay. So I know it's hard to get out of that mindset that I get a credit card or I get a car loan or I get a mortgage. And the only way to manage that, the only way to get out of debt faster is to go out and try to make more money to put on principal. Yeah, that's not it. The way to do that, folks, is to pay less interest. So let me talk to you about banking for a second. The largest institutions in your town, the biggest buildings in town are owned by banks and insurance companies. Okay? So what's going on there? If debt is bad, and see, they don't look at it as debt. They look at it as managing credit. Why do they not look at it as debt and managing credit? Do you know the biggest borrowers in town are your banks? They borrow your money. So why aren't we thinking more like a bank? They borrow our money and then they put that money to use. They lend it out. They're putting it in houses. They're putting it in people's education. They're lending it out on credit cards. And then what they do is they have to pay you something for the use of your money, but they're paying you pennies on the dollar for the use of their money, but they're making millions, billions, and trillions of dollars in interest using our money. And they pay us pennies on the dollar for the use of it. So if they could manage credit that way, why can't we manage credit? Why are we forced to look at it as debt, as a negative thing, instead of credit as a positive thing, and learn how to leverage? I can borrow your money and then get the house that I want. And then when you present the bank, and when you present a way to pay you back, I find a way not to pay you all the interest you're looking for. Man, listen, folks, the best way to borrow money is to pay no interest at all. Wouldn't you agree? The best way to borrow money is pay no interest. So what is the second best way? The second best way to borrow money is to pay the least amount of interest that's mathematically possible and get rid of the fallacy that paying cash for cars and paying cash for houses is better than leveraging somebody else's money. You see, the reason why I say that is because banks don't think that way. Banks have their own money. They're making billions of dollars. Okay. So who do you bank with? Do you bank with Chase? Do you bank with Wells Fargo? Do you bank with Regions? Who do you bank with? They've been in existence for like a long time and they've made a lot of money. Okay. So here's what I'm asking you. Why don't they stop taking depositors if they've made a lot of money and just invest their own money? Why don't banks just say, listen, We don't need you to deposit. We don't need your checking accounts. We don't need your savings accounts. We don't need your CD accounts. We have our own money now. We're just going to lend our money. They're going to pay cash for their investments now. Not even banks pay cash. They don't lend out their own money. They lend out our money because they've learned how to manage credit successfully. I think we can learn how to manage credit successfully also. And so why is it that we're told that the end all be all is to get to the point where you can buy stuff cash? That is a total waste of money. What? Yeah. See, when you buy stuff cash, here's the thing. When you spend your cash, you can't also invest that cash because it's gone. I took money, I borrowed money. I'm sorry, I took money from my investment or from the bank or wherever I have it, and I bought a house using my money, cash, no payments, no interest. Somehow that appeals to people. Hold on for a second. I'm back. Somehow that appeals to people when in fact it shouldn't, because that money I have in my investment, I can make 6, 7, 10% interest on my money. Oh, look at here. Somebody, look at there. Somebody's putting up 5 factorial. I love that. Satya. Oh, listen, I love that. 5 factorial is, yeah, it is 120. All right, great. So here's what we're talking about, folks. We want to start thinking like a bank. Start thinking like a bank and managing your credit instead of trying to pay cash so that you can get the best of both worlds. And what do I mean? While you're using somebody else's money, OPM, other people's money to get your house or get your education or buy your car, your money should be making babies. You should be investing it somewhere. Okay. Get with whoever it is that you want to invest with. In fact, if you're with the P.I.L.L method, we have a whole team of people who do nothing but grow our customers' wealth. Okay. That's what they do. That's their job, is to say, what is the best way? What is the, and in fact, it's even come down to being age appropriate. What is the best age appropriate way to invest your dollars so that at retirement time, you do not outlive your money? How you can live well your entire life. Okay. So we have a group that does nothing but that. But if you don't want to use our group, that's fine. Find a way to invest your money. Now, if you're investing your money, now what you could do is borrow somebody else's money and then learn how to pay it back, not at the interest cost they want, but at a much lower interest cost using your current budget. And if you can do that, now you can get an effective interest rate of around 1% or less. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pull up, get ready to put on the screen some examples of what I'm talking about. All right, so that people can see that you can borrow money at a much lower cost. So let me find some. I'm going to put this one up. So this one's 18%. I'm going to put, okay, we're going to put this one up. All right. And there we go. That's 2. Let me find a different one. Here's another one. Okay. Okay, there we go. We're going to put that up. And let me find a couple more. To put up. So that ones I've taken the names off of. And we can actually see what I'm talking about. I'm looking for one more in particular. And where is it? It's from a real estate investor. And All right. Let me put the ones I have up. All right. Let me put the ones I have up. Let's open these. And we're going to, once I open them, then you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. Let's see here. I've got one more to find. Hold on here. Let me put the name in. And once I get that, I think you're going to like what you see here in terms of how you can borrow money for a lot less. All right. And that's, I can't find the ones I'm looking for. Usually I can bring them right on up. All right. So, recent files. All right. Let's look at this one. Let me put this on the screen and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay. Here's number one. We're going to share this screen and the entire screen here. And if you want to see what I'm putting up, folks, go to YouTube and you can see what we're talking about. Go to YouTube so you can see what we're talking about. And here is a real estate investment situation where we have a $200,000 mortgage at 18%, even 18%. But what I showed the person on how to pay this back, instead of the $884,000 that they want in interest, they're only going to pay back $172,000, which means that they can borrow the money. The bank said pay us 18% interest, but the effective interest rate, let me bring this up so that you can see it a little better. The effective interest rate on this is 4.67%. So you can borrow money at 18%, but you can manipulate the whole process so it actually performs like a mortgage at 4.67%. That's what I'm talking about, folks. That's what it is. So you can borrow money here and then make it act like it was a lot less once you know what you're doing. That's what I mean by managing your credit so that you can pay a lot less interest. Okay? So here's a situation where we're looking at borrowing money at 4%. The bank wants 71% of what you borrowed. All right. The bank wants $204,000 in interest. They're only going to get $34,000 in interest. That means that this person is saving $108,000 in interest, so that their effective interest rate on this one is less than 1%. Less than 1%. Amazing, amazing. So let me go back here and see if I can pull up some other things. So in the meantime, while I'm looking at that, Kurt, can we go ahead and put on the screen while I'm pulling up these others, how people can partner with us by using this information that is on my card? You can get a savings and earnings report so that you can see how much interest you can save when you could be debt free and your effective interest rate. I don't care if it's 7% or 8% or 4% or 3%. I don't care what it is. Your effective interest rate can be so much less. So that's kind of what we're talking about. When you understand how the banks make their money, you want to pay a lot less. So when a bank borrows your money, folks, when a bank borrows your money, they're doing it for a specific reason. They're using it to make money. And what I'm telling you is that consumers ought to start thinking the same way. When you borrow money, use it to make money, even when you're buying your own personal home. How do you do that? By paying a lot less interest, tracking the interest, and then taking that money that you didn't pay the bank and investing it in your family. Okay. It is amazing how that happens. So go ahead, fill out the form. All right. Fill out the form. And then our staff will contact you. Once the staff contacts you, then you'll be able to, we'll set up a consultation, and then you can know the month, day, and year you could be debt free and how much interest you could save. Amazing. Now, also, we have an affiliate program. Let's not forget about that. Sign up to be an affiliate. All right. When you sign up to be an affiliate, then it takes about 15 seconds. You can use that card to become an affiliate. You can also, once you become an affiliate, just steer people to our YouTube channel. Let them watch some of the videos. Now, I pay $300 when you send us a referral that becomes a client, if that referral has at least $100,000 in debt and at least one mortgage. That's going to be very easy. Okay. So if they have at least $100,000 in debt and at least one mortgage, send them our way. And then they'll watch the videos. You call them within 48 hours and send them our way by clicking on another link that I have in this card that says refer a friend. Okay. You refer them to us. We'll take it from there. Once they become a client, you will then receive $300. Now, if you want to receive more, send us a second client in the same month. On that second one, you'll get $400. Send us a third one, then you'll get $500. Send us a fourth one, then you'll get $600 on that one. But send us a fifth one in the same month, we'll send you $1,200 for a total of $3,000. Boom, just like that. For people who just, they want to save money. They want to get out of debt, and we're going to help them. So if you want to become an affiliate with us, go ahead and fill that part out. And last but not least, okay, Horace Jennings is here this morning from Virginia. Thank you. And he's watching us online. He's watching us on YouTube right now. So folks, then don't forget about the book. All right. Get the book today. It is the only book that on Amazon that talks about this subject, how to understand amortization and how to make the most out of your money. There's only one book that talks about it out of 33 million titles. And that is The P.I.L.L Method, a better way to eliminate debt. So get the book today. So back to what we were talking about, folks. I need to do a new search. Okay, your files, shared with you, agreements. All right, all of the files. How do I get out of this? I got in a place in this thing, and I got to get out of it so I can see all of my files. And somehow I messed up. So I got to shut the whole thing down. All right, got to quit it so that I can bring back all of my files. Okay, sorry about this. All right, and let's bring up the files so that we can check them out. And we had this one. All right, we're going to bring that one back to do a comparison. And here is another one that we can bring up. Let me see. This is this one I can bring up? All right. And let me see here. Let me see if these are the ones I want to bring up to show you. We're going to open them up and see. Yeah, this one. All right, 89. Yeah, okay, I got three. Okay, let's go ahead and show these. All right, here's one for $2 million. All right, 2.2 million. All right, by the time that this investor gets through paying this off on our program, where the bank wants $1,123,195 in interest. Okay, this investor is going to pay back $231,000 in interest. That's saving $891,726 in interest. So, in order to borrow money and pay that little amount of interest off, the original interest rate would have had to be, let me get in on this one. Here it is, 0.67%. Folks, here's what the bank is doing to us. And I'm trying to tell you, you could do the same thing. Here's what the bank is doing to us. The last time you got money, the last time you looked at your bank statement and they showed you how much interest you earned, even on your savings account. And some of you have even checking accounts that pay interest. Okay. You got 2 cents or 3 cents, and maybe you even got 10 cents interest on your money. Now, here's what's crazy about this. If you have $10,000 in the bank, that allows the bank to lend out 10 times that amount. Okay? If you have $10,000 in the bank, that means the bank can lend out $100,000 based on your $10,000. And then based on that, so they're making all this money, and so they're paying you pennies on the dollar. I mean, not even a whole penny on your dollar. Okay? And if they can do that, why can't this particular investor look at this situation and say, why can't I do something similar to the bank? I can borrow $2.2 million for office buildings. Look over here to the right. Income on these buildings is right around $57,000 a month. $57,000 a month on these office buildings. Okay? And my debt payments on the 2 mortgages is only $14,696. What? Making 57 grand a month and only paying out $14,696 for the loans? And not only that, folks, but paying the loan back in such a way that their interest that the bank is looking for is reduced by a total of 79%. 79% discount for borrowing that money. That's, excuse me, that's after the loan closes, after the papers are signed. This real estate investor is going to cut their interest cost by 79% because he's managing his credit. He's not looking at it as debt, as something that has to be feared or misunderstood or feel bad about. Listen, I want to borrow this money like the bank borrows money, and I want to make money with it, and I want to pay as little as I possibly can for the use of it. Now, does anybody have anything different to say about this? Do you want to start thinking like a bank so you can manage your credit and stop thinking of it as a negative and turn it into the positive that it is? Because I tell you, the banks love this system where they lend out our money, pay us pennies on the dollar for the use of it, and they make trillions. So this real estate investor, now I'm going to show you something here. It's going to be crazy. The bank wanted $1,123,195 in interest on these 2 loans. This real estate investor is only going to pay back $231,468. That is an effective interest rate of 0.67. That's not even 1%. That's less than 1%. That's like borrowing money at less than 1%. The $891,000 he was going to pay, he didn't have to pay. So that's 17 years. We're just going to knock 17 years off this loan by saving all of that interest. And in the 17 years, he doesn't have to, he's going to take that money he didn't pay in interest and invest it and turn it into $9,314,000. borrowing money at a discount, tracking how much interest you save, and then over the next years, saying over the next 17 years, let me invest that money I didn't spend on interest. So here's what happened. I got an asset worth $2,236,000. That's the asset. I got it in 4 years instead of 20 years. And I saved $891,000 in interest that I didn't have to pay. And now I'm going to invest that money as well. I got the asset and I got the interest savings, and I'm going to take the interest savings and invest that. Folks, this way, when you look at the $9 million he can make over that time, and listen, folks, that's not an exorbitant return on his money. This is at 1% return on his money. The $9 million, that's a 1% return on the money. He can get more. In fact, he is getting more. But when we do this analysis, we're only going to give you the most conservative numbers possible so that you know you could beat these numbers. But even at 1%, an extra $9 million added to his bottom line because of interest he didn't have to pay the bank. Folks, we need to start managing credit because debt is an illusion that we have been saddled with. Okay? Somebody wants to come up to the stage. Steve, what's up with you, man? Come on up here. Did you have something to say? Or are you just hanging out?
Just wanted to say, Grand Rising, that's all. Come up, help populate the room.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. So, folks, what Steve is doing, see, Steve, Steve has 215 followers. So as soon as he hit the stage, his 215 followers got alerted that he's in this room, and it's going to bring more people in. So Jeffrey, you've been here before. I don't know why you're down in the audience. Let me bring you up to the stage. Diane, same thing. You've been here before. Why don't you guys come up to the stage and sit and learn? All right. Bring some more people in. I would appreciate that very, very much. So let me go to another one. And Jeffrey, did you have anything that you wanted to add to the conversation, or are you just hanging out to bring more people in? All right. He says, I can't talk right now. I understand it totally. But I appreciate you being here. All right. So Diane, how are you doing? And I appreciate it if you can't speak either, because some of these folks are at work, folks, but they're here constantly getting this information. So let me pull up another example. All right. So we had this one, and now let's take a look at this one. All right. This is just $89,000. That's it. I got $89,000 mortgage. We have $27,459.75 in other loans. And we got $6,000 in credit cards for a total of $123,000 in debt. Okay. Now on that debt, the bank wanted $45,000 in interest. Okay. And wanted to take 21.8 years to pay it off. All right. Horace Jennings. Come on, boy. I see you there. All right. 21.8 years to pay it off. And now they're going to be able to pay it off in 4.2 years. Why? Because instead of giving the bank $45,000 that they were looking for, we're going to show this particular client how using their current budget, not making one extra dime, on how to pay a lot less interest, all the way down to $12,826. That's it. On these loans, they're going to pay $12,000 in interest instead of the $45,000 the bank was looking for. That is a 72% reduction in interest cost, meaning, here it is again, to pay this much interest. Hey, Johnson. Johnson Arlou. He's a church member, folks. I see you, Johnson. Thanks for being here. He says, thanks for the invitation. So we sent out an email blast to a lot of our folks so they can be here. So instead of paying off in 21.8 years, going to pay off in 4.2, which means he's got an effective interest rate of 0.67%. I need you to put it in the chat right now. All right. I need you to put it in the chat right now. Would you like to be able to borrow money at less than 1%? Put a yes or a no. Would you like to? Hey, David Hunt. He says, good morning, good morning, good morning. All right. Steve Mack says yes. He's asked it. Yeah. And let me see here. I got a question while you guys are putting your yeses in. Can the mortgage be 100K in debt or so if the mortgage is 100K in debt, if the mortgage is 100K, yes. So they have to have at least a mortgage and 100K in debt. So if the mortgage is the only thing they have and the mortgage is at least 100K, then you can send them in as a referral. But if all they have is a mortgage and they have $90,000 in debt, then that wouldn't qualify for a referral that could get paid. Okay. So they have to have at least $100,000 in debt and or a mortgage. Okay. You've got to have at least one mortgage and $100,000 in debt. If they had $100,000 in debt with just student loans and no mortgage, that still qualifies. You see what I'm saying? Okay. There you go. I hope that makes it clear. All right, Joy. Thank you for the qualification. So that's what we're talking about, folks. We want to be able to borrow money at less than 1%. And when you follow this program, you're able to do that. You can take your current budget and pay the bank back at your own time, which means they can't charge you all of that interest. You're in complete control. Let's start thinking like a bank. Listen, there's more going on here than meets the eye. A lot of people come to the show and they get this information and they think it's great. But when I work with you one-on-one, when our team works with you one-on-one, then we can give you more information that is specific to your situation. We give a lot of general information here, but we don't expect you to take the information that you learn from this broadcast, that you can apply it specifically to your situation without help, because there's a lot of things that we cannot cover. We just don't have the time to cover it. That will be specific to you. So this is why we're going to put it up now. This is why you need to get a savings and earnings report and work with our coaching team, our customer service team, so that we can come up with a program that is specific to you. All right. Do you want to save a lot of money, or do you want to save the most amount of money that you can mathematically? Get a savings and earnings report and find out what you can do. All right. So Johnson Arlu says, Johnson, can that 100K be a combination of husband and wife? Oh, certainly. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really matter how it's put together. If you have 100K, if a person has 100K in debt, okay, and a mortgage, all right, and a mortgage, they can get. I would like to be able to help them, and then you can get a $300 referral by clicking on the link above, the ice10k.com. So if you are online, it's ICE, the number 10, the letter K.com. Go there and then sign up to be an affiliate. It takes 15 seconds. And when you share that information with others, send them over to the YouTube channel so they can watch some videos, follow up with them in 48 hours, and then fill out the referral card. It says refer a friend. It's at the top of the card, refer a friend. And then when they become a client, we'll send you $300 at least. If you send us more in that same month, we'll pay you more. All right. That's what that's about. So folks, I just, the reason why this subject is so important to me And if anybody has any questions, feel free to raise your hand and ask a question at any time. I love talking to people about their questions. Okay. So if you have a question about any of this, feel free to come to the stage and ask it. So the reason why I talk about this is as some experiences that I've had recently. People have called for help. They've seen the broadcast and they're a little nervous about getting started. And because what we're talking about is paying off mortgages in 4 years. And I talked to a young lady, 5 to 7 years. I talked to a young lady yesterday, and she says, it just doesn't seem true. It seems too good to be true. And I said, I get that. And the reason why is her parents still have a mortgage. Her grandparents still had a mortgage when they died. Most people, 9 out of 10 people you know with a mortgage will die with that thing. And it doesn't have to be. Because we're not learning to think like a bank. We're not learning how to leverage somebody else's money and make money with it. Because we're taught to treat money like a consumer. We're taught to treat money like debt instead of managing credit. Banks don't have debt. They manage credit. So have you ever thought about the fact that if you read your information when you open a bank account, and nobody really ever does, in that information, what the bank is literally telling you is that we're going to borrow your money. And if something should happen to the bank, we're going to insure your money up to $250,000. Even if you have $1 million, we're going to guarantee that, well, at least you'll get $250,000 back. The reason why they do that, let me tell you the reason why they have to do it that way, is this. For every dollar you have in the bank, they can lend out 10. Okay? For every dollar in the bank, they can lend out 10. They're actually lending out more money than they actually have. And this is how money is actually created. It's created through managing debt, all right, for other people who look at it as debt. They borrow the money, all right, and then they pay back. What do you mean, Don, they can lend out money that they actually don't have? So anybody here with a mortgage? Okay, anybody here with a mortgage? Put a number 9 in the chat. If you have a mortgage, put a number 9 in the chat. Okay, if you have a mortgage and you're online watching this, put a number 9 in the comment section. If you have a mortgage, okay, everybody who has a mortgage, put a number 9 in. Okay, so they're coming in. Let me see here. We're opening that up. We're going to take a quick look here. Here, Dory Scott. Okay, David Hunt got a mortgage. Okay, everybody has a mortgage. So here's the thing: when you bought your house, no matter how much it cost, did you actually see the money? Did you actually see the $250,000? Did you actually see the $200,000? Did you actually see the $400,000 that was written into your account that actually went over to somebody else? Did you actually see the dollar bills? Tell me, yes or no? Dory Scott said, no, sir. I didn't actually see the money. They wrote it into your account. It's just numbers. Okay. Everybody who has a mortgage, I'm going to say, go to your local bank downtown, and then this says, okay, all the mortgages that they do in a week, do you think all of that money is sitting in that bank? Absolutely not. That money is not sitting there. They're writing a number into that account, and then it's transferred over to whoever you bought the house from. It's written into their account. It doesn't turn into real money until the last person says, I'm going to take out of my account $10,000. Okay. Now, If the person you bought the house from, okay, they have, let's say this bank has all of their customers just in this town, just in one town, all of their customers that sold a house, and that money is sitting in the bank. The numbers are in the bank, but the money is actually not there. What would happen if all of those people went to the bank on the same day and tried to get all of their money out? What would happen? Would everyone be able to get all of their money? No, because it's not there. It's not there. It's not there. So Steve Mack says it's a run on the bank. Yeah, that's what's called a run on the bank, when everybody tries to get all of their money out at the same time. Excuse me, folks. I'm still dealing with this cough, but I can't help it. I'm getting excited talking about this thing, because listen, debt is an illusion. It's an illusion. So what is happening when you borrow money? It's written into the account, but you sign a note that says you're going to pay back the money, which wasn't real money, that you were going to borrow. You borrowed the money, you're going to pay it back, plus interest, plus real money that you actually made from your blood, sweat, and tears. You're going to pay back money that wasn't created out of thin air. It was created because you exchanged time for money, or your or your services for money, or your products for money. Whatever it is, you traded something for that money, and you're going to give it to the bank on top of the fictional money they wrote into your account. How about that? So I got people who are calling me who are focused on, Don, can your company really do this? Can we really save that kind of interest and pay off our loans in this case, 4.2 years, saving 17 years, saving $32,000 in interest I don't have to pay? And then over the 17.7 years, is it possible for us to turn that into $672,000 extra dollars for us? The answer is yes. And do you know, I get so many questions before people can actually do this. And do you know what's crazy about it? Now, this may be telling on some of us, okay? This may be telling on some of us. But I get so many questions about cutting people's interest costs by 72%. I get so many questions about getting them out of debt in 5 to 7 years. And you know what happened? When they signed up for these mortgages, I need to know by a number 2 in the chat, how many people signed, I'm sorry, how many people read every page of their mortgage contract as they were signing it at closing? How many people here read every single page? Put a number 2 in the chat if you read it. I'm not going to ask who didn't read it. I'm just going to ask how many people did read it. Put a number 2 in the chat if you read every single page of that when you borrowed that money. And I'm waiting. I'm waiting for number 2s to show up. And I'm not seeing any. I'm not seeing any online. I'm not seeing any in Clubhouse. The reason why that is, okay, is that we are used to borrowing money this way. We're used to looking at debt. David Hunt said, okay, Horace Jennings said he read every page. Good for you. Good for you. All right. David said, no, I didn't read it. So, and I got to admit, folks, when I first started this thing, I already had a mortgage when I first started it, and I didn't read it either. I mean, listen, it's something that everybody is used to. They're looking at this as debt. They're looking at it as something that they will never pay off. It's just part of our lifestyle. It's part of being alive. It's borrowing money and then paying it back the way the bank said to pay it back. So, and we don't read it. So here's the thing. Not only did this person that signed a mortgage and other loans to pay $32,000 more than they had to pay, they put a large down payment on the loan in order to be overcharged. Did you all put a down payment on your loans in order to be overcharged interest? Yeah. So how do we turn that around? That's what we're dedicated here. That's what we're dedicated here to do. To turn it all around so people can be educated about how to borrow money, to think like a bank, borrow money for pennies on the dollar, leverage that money and get the education you want, that you need, to borrow the car, to purchase a house, to do your investments. Use somebody else's money, pay them pennies on the dollar for it while you're getting big time equity for yourself and for your family, and then track the interest saved and then invest it. Okay. Here's that 18% again. By not paying $712,000 in interest, by not paying the $712,000 in interest over a 22-year savings, this person can actually take that money and turn it into $1,190,000. Folks, I need to share this with you. And I want to make this abundantly clear. And then we're going to do a quick reset and hear from Dr. Eric Thomas. I want to make this abundantly clear. As long as we're paying interest at retail, you can also invest that money. And if you come from a spiritual background, knowing that one of the things that we are admonished to do is put away money for our children's children. How can we do that if we're spending money like we're spending it on interest when we don't have to? Stop doing it the bank's way and start doing it the right way. Cut your interest cost by 75, 80%. Get your 1% interest rate, your effective interest rate or less, and then learn how to invest the difference. When you can do that, and it's easy to do following a program that is designed to do that for you. All right. Horace Jennings has something to say here. It says, that's retirement money we're giving away. You better believe it, Horace. That's retirement money you're giving away. But not only that, folks, but once you get this education, once you learn how to use the opportunity cost calculator, once you get the information from my book, you can teach it to your children and to your grandchildren. I had an opportunity not too long ago to talk to 8th graders in Houston. They loved the information, especially when I told them that your parents are spending your inheritance on interest. I had a couple of kids in one of the classes were falling asleep. The teacher had to wake them up. Okay. Says, wake up. All right. Falling asleep in class. But by the time I was through, I was only in the class for 20 minutes. They were all in. I showed them. Let me show you what I showed them. Okay. Let me show you what I showed them. All right. I'm going to put it on the screen here and you'll be able to see it. I'm going to show you what I showed them. I showed them this amortization schedule. I put in a $200,000 mortgage at 6%. And then I did a little math with them. These were 8th graders. Okay. I said, here's what's happening. Out of the $1,199.10 that somebody pays on a mortgage, only $199.10 went to principal, $1,000 went to interest. Then we did a little bit of math. Okay. Here's the math that we did. The $1,000 in interest. Okay. And then you take a look at, we're going to divide it by the entire payment, $1,199.10. That shows you that 83% of the payment went to interest. 83 cents out of every dollar went to interest, and only 17 cents went to buy the house back from the bank. 17 cents out of every dollar. All right. So here's what I told them. So let's do 80-20. All right. So here's what I said. So I said, I asked the kids, what are kind of the stuff that you like to buy? And then the consensus in that class was that they like shoes. And I said, well, what shoes? And they said Jordans. And I said, well, how much do you want to pay for your Jordans? And they said about $200. I said, I tell you what, I will lend you $200 to buy your Jordans. You just pay me $100 a month. And I said, how long should it take to pay off the Jordans at $100 a month? They said 2 months. I said, now remember the situation I showed you here, where 80% of your money is going to interest, is going to the bank. So I brought 5 students up at the front of the class and I gave them all $20 bills. I said, here's $100. You're going to pay your $100 on your shoes. And I said, I told 4 of the students, I said, you go over to the other side of the room. That's the bank. That $80 went to the bank. Only $20 out of your $100 went to pay for the shoes. Oh, they said, listen, they're not supposed to say bad words, but they wanted to. Listen, they said, oh, no, we're not spending our money like that. I said, do you want to spend your money like that? I said, your parents are spending money just like that. They said, oh, no, we don't want to spend our money like that. But then when I brought up another 5 students and gave them $100, okay, I said, once that $100 is paid, and only $20 went to principal, the amount of money that you borrowed, then that next $100, if you paid in the same month, all of that money would go to principal. So you could have $120 on your shoes based on the fact that you give the bank back their money in your own timing instead of their timing. And they got it. And when I showed them that I had a book, I told them to go. I said, you know, these kids now, they have their cell phones and computers in there. They have smart boards in the classroom. I said, look up my book. Look up the P.I.L.L method. They saw it. I said, how much does it cost? And they put that up there. They put it how much the book cost. And then I said, I have a book for each and every one of you. Do you know all the hands went up? All the hands went up about a book, about math, about finance, about money, because it was made relevant to them. If 8th graders can get it, if 8th graders can understand it, if 8th graders can get excited about this, why aren't we? And the math isn't that hard because 8th graders could understand it. So here's my last question about that. Let it sink in. Here's my last question about that. Why isn't this being taught in 8th grade? Why isn't understanding how loans work, how banks make their money, how we can do the same thing? Why isn't it being taught in 8th grade? Why are we here? Okay. Why are we here? Steve Mack says we have an employee mindset. Okay. Jeffrey West is awesome. Listen, folks. We've been here over a year now. Myself and Kirk Nugent, okay, who is our producer. Okay. Kirk Nugent is our producer. And he is actually a pastor that does media at his church. All right. And we're working together to get this information out. Kurt is in the background. I do all the talking and yelling. Dory Scott says, I need to buy your book expeditiously. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Dory. I appreciate you. Okay. I appreciate you. And Jordan T here online in Clubhouse says, because if everyone knew, everyone would do it and the banks would lose their profit. You got that right. You got that right. Okay. So folks, here's what I need you to do. Buy the book today. At least buy the book and then get and find out all the tools that you need to save this money and stop giving it away. Because if you give it away, you can't also invest it. You can't grow it like we should grow it. Our money should be growing. This is what we call generational wealth. We can purchase education, houses, cars, vacations, anything we need to purchase using somebody else's money. Pay them pennies on the dollar for the use of it, and there's nothing wrong with it. If you learn how to manage credit. All right. And here's another person who says, buying your book. Thank you. Okay. Let me see if I can pronounce this right. Shafoka 32. Okay. Shafoka 32. Thank you so very much. So folks, I got to take a little break here. I've got to get a drink of water. Let's hear from Dr. Eric Thomas for the 45 seconds or so I can get a drink of water. All right. Dr. Eric Thomas, what do you have to say about the P.I.L.L method?
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down from my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
Put a number 7 in the chat if you know who Dr. Eric Thomas is. E.T. the hip hop preacher. Put a number 7 in the chat if you know who he is right now. If you know who he is, put a number 7 in the chat. Okay. If you don't know who he is, you need to get acquainted. He's online right now. He's on YouTube. Watch his videos. He is a New York Times best-selling author. He has got a PhD, graduated from Oakwood University here in Huntsville, Alabama, and then went on to get his PhD at Michigan State. Okay. And he is the #1 motivational speaker in the entire world using the P.I.L.L method to pay off his mortgage. See, folks, it's just math. We don't have to be afraid of it. And so if you're even a little nervous, LaTanya Watson says, Eric, she says, I know him as Eric. Okay. She says, I know who he is. Thank you, Miss LaTanya Watson, coming up in here and saying your piece. All right. So folks, if he can do it, we can do it. Let's stop being skeptical and let's start looking at the numbers. We can be so skeptical and so scared. You know, one of the things I need you to write this down. I need you to understand this. Okay. I need you to write it down, understand it, see what's going on here. The fear of loss is greater than the desire for gain. The fear of loss. If I have to pay down for the P.I.L.L method, I'm going to fear the small amount of money I have paid for this program. I'm going to fear that more than the fact that I could gain 75% interest savings. Yeah, that part. Folks, we've got to get past it. Now, we've got a lot of things in place so that we can take the fear away and reduce the idea of risk. Okay. #1, you get to have a consultation with me for an hour. Okay. So that you can ask all the questions you need to ask after we produce your savings and earnings report. You can ask all the questions you need to ask to understand this for yourselves. All right. Then If you don't get $150 worth of benefit out of that consultation, just say so. Before I hang up the phone, I'll push a button, send the $150 back. So there's no risk there. If you want to talk about down, what does it cost for your program? Well, what it costs is it's not costing you anything. It costs the bank. The bank was overcharging you by $100,000 to $150,000. Then instead of I'm going to take some of the profit that they were supposed to get, you pay us, you get to keep the rest of the money. So you don't pay us at all. It is the bank's money that you contracted to pay. That's the money I want. I don't want yours. I want the money that you're supposed to pay them. That's what I want. Just a tiny piece of that. And guess what? There's no risk there either. Because when we give you, an analysis that says you're going to be out of debt, you're going to be out of debt. Let me bring that up. Let me put that back on the screen. When we tell you that on your $200,000 loan, okay, or on your $2 million loan, or your $89,000 loan, whatever it is, okay, you're going to be out of debt in 4.2 years, and you're going to save $32,000 in interest, whatever it is. When we give you that in writing, we must do that. If we don't do that, then you don't have to pay. We do what we say or you don't pay. Right. There's a 100% money back guarantee for life on this program. You can't lose. And if you look up P.I.L.L method, if you Google P.I.L.L method right now, you will see that we're more popular than birth control. That's number one. And the other thing you will see, you won't see one negative word about this company anywhere on the internet, anywhere from people who have actually used the program. The only criticisms we get, and they're very few, are from people who've never used the program, who've never gotten a presentation, who don't understand it from the inside out. They're looking from the outside in and saying, based on the information that I have, Don's program can't work. Well, based on the information you have, you're right. But we're not talking about doing things with the information you have. We're talking about getting rid of the old ideas about money and putting in new ideas about money. We want you now to start viewing debt as an illusion and stop letting the bank reach into your pocket, taking out money that they shouldn't be taking out. It's an illusion. It's not real. They don't have to do it that way. It has never been real. It's only the way that these loans are constructed has only been around for 89 years, since 1934. And absolutely no education about these loans exists anywhere. Not in your 8th grade class, not in your senior class, not in your college classes, not in when you're getting your master's degrees. It's not in those classes, even up to your terminal degrees in business, accounting, financial planning, anything. How the bank makes its money in interest is not taught anywhere but here. Here. And if you've been searching on YouTube, different ways to manage your credit or get rid of debt, however you're saying it right now, there are people who keep regurgitating the same information. If you put something in on the debt snowball right now, if I put something in on the debt snowball right now, I want you to see something here. I'm going to pull up YouTube. Okay. I'm going to pull up YouTube. And then I'm going to search YouTube for debt snowball. Okay. And look how many videos come up. Boom. There's Dave Ramsey right at the top. And here's some others A ton of people talking about the debt snowball. Okay. But who's talking about optimized interest cancellation? Look at that. Look at all those videos of debt snowball. Look at them. And listen, I can keep going. Debt snowball videos forever and a day. Okay. Forever and a day. All right. So let's put in P.I.L.L method. And only our stuff. Only our stuff. Only our stuff. Only our stuff. Oh, here's Dave Ramsey. All right. Paying how to pay off a mortgage quickly. He slipped in there, but he doesn't talk about the P.I.L.L method. Well, he does talk about it, but it's in a bad way. Okay. And then let me see. Let me just put in interest cancellation. Let me try that. I haven't done that. Interest cancellation. Okay, let's put interest cancellation. Okay, interest cancellation. Okay, interest cancellation. Now, okay, whose name is on that? That's me. All right. Let's see, magnetic mortgages, investments, the method. Oh, this is the method. It's not the, okay. Here's another one of my videos. Okay. And interest cancellation. Nobody's really talking about interest cancellation. Here's the reason why I bring all this up. The reason why I bring it up is any other programs out there, there are a ton of people who regurgitate the same information. No one is copying our information. The reason why is that I own the copyright. That's why I own the copyright to this. And they can't. If somebody else starts talking about it, we can shut them down immediately because they don't own the copyright to this. I own it. P.I.L.L method is a registered trademark. They can't touch it. Not at all. And so I thank God for that, because and the only reason why I get it is not because I'm smart, it's because that I have Asperger's, ASD, autism spectrum disorder. The way that I look at things, I see them differently, and I'm sharing that difference with you. That's what it comes down to. This is why nobody else is talking about it, because I didn't get it from somebody else. I didn't get it from YouTube University. I didn't get it from reading a book. I didn't get it from somebody's college class. I got it because I'm wired differently, period. That's it. I'm wired differently. That's how I got it. So folks, I want to give it to you. I want to give it to you. How many people want to start looking at your money differently? How many people want to start thinking like a bank? How many people here are tired of giving your money to the bank? How many people here are want to not only stop giving your money to the bank, but turn it into wealth for your families and to teach others how to do it as well? Latanya Watson says, I'm a witness that it works. Come on, Latanya. I'm a witness that it works. My husband is applying it to our 3 mortgages. Thank you, Miss Latanya. How about that? 3 mortgages paid off in record time because of understanding how much money you don't have to give to the bank. Has nothing to do with how much money you have to come up with. It's about how much money you don't have to give to the bank. So here's the thing. Here's what the banks are doing. The banks are saying, I borrowed the money from these people, and if something happens, I'm going to pay them back out of the money that I make. Out of the money that I make using their money. Ooh, Angela Transform says, amazing. Come on. That's what we're talking about here, folks. I just want you to be able to see the truth of the matter. Stop looking at what you're doing. Stop looking at borrowing money as debt. And start looking at it as managing credit, just like a bank. Managing credit, just like a bank. So in the last few minutes here, for some of you who have never seen this before, I've got something on the screen right now. I'm going to go over it with you in the last few minutes that I'm here today. And we're going to give you some basic information on how to understand interest cancellation and how much money that they're charging us and how much money we don't have to pay. I just showed you that out of this mortgage, 83% of the payment is going to interest. 83% is going to interest. And when you make your very first payment here, I need y'all to see this. And if you want to see this example, go to YouTube on a secondary device. You go on your tablet or another phone or whatever you've got, a computer, go to YouTube and search P.I.L.L method. You'll find our live broadcast. Click on it, okay? And you'll be able to see what I'm doing here, okay? And if you, and folks don't believe it, okay? You can actually see how we make interest melt away with money we already have. So let's say we make this payment here in January. We made a January payment. Our February principal payment is $200.10. Ordered your book. How much is your program? Oh, my program, listen, that's Shafoka. All right, 32. It all depends on what we're doing for you. It all depends on what we're doing for you. If once you fill out a savings and earnings report, then we'll know how much interest you're going to save. And then we'll be able to tell you what percentage of that savings is going to pay for your program, because it's individual. All right. But I tell you what, it's going to be a lot less than what you're paying now. I promise you. Okay. So go ahead and fill out the savings and earnings report. Go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com, click on the link that says get a savings and earnings report. And thank you so much for ordering the book. Okay. So we've got $200.10 going to principal in the second month. Now, you don't have to wait to February to give the bank this $200. You could give it to them early. Let's say you did have it. So Don, how do we get extra money? I don't have extra money. Here's how you get it. Let me tell you how you get your extra money. It's not extra. It's left over after you paid your bills. If we tracked how we paid our bills, I mean, if you wrote down how much you make and then wrote down every time you paid your bills, when you've paid all your bills in a month, and then you take a look at what's left, that's called discretionary income. And what we're doing is we're attacking the loans with the discretionary income, the money that's left over after all the bills are paid. Okay, so let's just say we have $200 here that we can work with. We're going to give the bank this $200.10 early, and we get to subtract that $200.10 in the same month of January. We're paid down to line 2 on the amortization schedule because all of that money goes to principal. So since we're on line 2 of the amortization schedule, the next mortgage payment is actually on line 3, right there. We just skipped $999 in interest we never have to pay. We've eliminated one line from our amortization schedule for just $200. If you think that's amazing, watch this. I make my payment in January. I've been saving up some money for a while. Let's say I can make the next 3 principal payments right now. Okay, I pay my January payment, but on top of the January payment, I'm going to give the bank the $200.10, the $201.10, and the $202.10. That's $603.30 invested in my mortgage. I'm going to pay it off. I'm going to go straight to principal because I'm tired of giving the bank money every time I want to pay my mortgage down. Right? So now that's $600, $603.30. So what just happened? I just eliminated this $9.99 in interest, this $9.98 in interest, and this $9.97 in interest. All gone. Almost $3,000 in interest right there. eliminated. And my next mortgage payment is actually on line 5. And I did that with my regular mortgage payment and as little as $603.30 put on top. I just killed nearly $3,000 in interest and knocked off 4 payments I never have to make. Isn't this amazing? Isn't this amazing? So let me show you another little bit of math that you're going to enjoy. How many of you like investing? How many of you like to make money? All right, make your money make money, investing it in something and watching it grow. Okay, so if I invest $200.10 and my return on investment is $999 I don't have to pay, this is how that works. My $999 I don't have to pay, I divide it by the $200.10 that I paid early to get the $999 in savings. And I find out that when I move the decimal 2 places, that's 499% return on my money. Who gets 500% return on their money? Nobody I know, unless they're doing this. 500% return on the money. Watch this one. I need you to take a look at the cumulative principal. Cumulative principal here. Cumulative principal and cumulative interest. Cumulative principal, cumulative interest right here. How much do we pay in 1 year? Okay. We pay our loan down by $2,456 and a penny in 1 year, but the bank wants $11,933.19 in order to do this. So this is why I need you to stop thinking about debt and learn how to manage credit. Stop thinking about it as debt and learn how to manage credit. If you have it, let's just say that you have an opportunity not to pay the $2,456 over 12 months. What if you could give them this money in 1 month? On month 1, pay your loan down to line 12 in 1 month and eliminate all the interest payments between line 2 and line 12. Instead of costing $11,933.19 to get down to here, it only costs you the $1,000 on line 1. So folks, when you stop thinking about your debt and start thinking about how to manage credit, then we can come up with all sorts of ways to pay a lot less interest to get what you want to buy. Buy your house. Treat it like a car. Buy it in 5 to 7 years. Stop paying 30 years on a mortgage note. It has never been necessary to do that. We just got in the habit of doing it, thinking of it as debt instead of learning how to manage credit. Manage your credit. Manage it. Deal with it. You take control of it when you manage it. But when you look at it as debt, somebody else is in control. Somebody else is in control when you look at it as debt. So folks, go ahead, follow the club, follow the P.I.L. Method Club, follow me. And we're going to be back here talking about all sorts of things in the near future. I'm going to be back here. I'm going to be back on Sunday, but we're going to be in the mortgage syndicate. On Sunday, we're going to be talking about real estate investors, okay? Focusing on interest cost, not interest rate, okay? Focusing on interest cost and not interest rate. Real estate investors who are making a lot of money in real estate are leaving millions upon millions on the table because they're looking at their interest rates and not interest cost. Millions upon millions. So if you want to hear us on Sunday, come on back, and I'm going to put up Wednesday's show. I've got to figure out what the title is for Wednesday's show, but going in the same vein. So I'd like to get some ideas from you. What would you guys like to hear about? Do I have any ideas, show ideas from any of you. You can put it in the chat or go to my Instagram and give me a show idea. What is something that you would like to see me tackle from this perspective? All right. And so give me some show ideas. I'd like to be able to tackle that. And if you, in the last few minutes, I'm only going to do about an hour and a half today. Okay. Only about an hour and a half because I'm not getting any questions, but I can go a little bit longer if I have some questions. So does anybody like to come to this? Would anybody like to come to the stage and ask a question? Uh-oh, I got a hand up. Let's invite her up. Okay. Angelina. All right. Invite to speak. Angelina, you made a comment in the, made a comment before, and I saw your comment. So you have a question for me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a show idea to introduce the P.I.L.L method. You should how to change your perspective on credit one-on-one for people being introduced. Because I came in at the tail end of your live. I clicked, said, as it said, that is an illusion. That I do know about from other education, but I always like hearing different perspectives and strategies on this. I've studied credit repair and also personal and business credit as well. And I've been introduced to infinite banking and the P.I.L.L method. That's something new I haven't heard of yet.
Okay, how to change your perspective? Okay,
On credit.
On credit. I think that's great. Okay, because that's exactly what we're doing. All right. Because listen, our perspective is important, and it will determine how much money we actually end up spending, and how much we could save. But when you look at it, Ms. Angeline, I think I could love to do something on this. Here's one perspective. All right. How to change your perspective. On my screen right now, I have a $200,000 mortgage. Okay. At 6%. Every homeowner that I talk to that has this, they're buying a $200,000 home. No, they're not. If it's at 6% interest, the bank wants $231,000 in interest. That's a total of $431,676. So it's not a $200,000 home anymore. The true cost on this house, unless they do something about it, is $431,676. That is a different perspective. And folks, I like that show idea. In fact, we're going to do a show on this on Wednesday on changing your perspective on credit. Thank you, Miss Angelina.
You're welcome. What time will that be?
That will be at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central Time. But
Thank you. And what's the P.I.L.L method?
The P.I.L.L method stands for prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. It is a better way to understand debt and how to save interest.
Awesome. Is that like paying it early so you don't pay as much interest? Is that a part of the strategy?
Well, that's a part of the strategy. It's a very small part, but knowing how much to pay and when to pay, we have a artificially intelligent cloud-based computing platform that guides us as to what to do and when. So you can save the maximum amount of interest. You see, when you're doing one particular thing to save money, okay, on your mortgage, you don't know how much interest you're saving. Therefore, you can't optimize, meaning I want to be able to save the maximum amount of interest I can per dollar I apply. So what we do is not just save you some interest, not tell you just to pay early, but give you specific instructions on how much to pay, what month to do it in, what day of the month to do it on, and which loan to attack, so you could save the most interest per dollar. That's where it goes. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and this also can be used for student loan payment as
Most
well.
definitely. We have shows on student loans that we've already done. And then you'll be able to see that. So we have a if you can watch us on YouTube or Facebook, we have our Facebook page. All our past shows are up on YouTube and Facebook.
What's the YouTube handle name?
Pill Method. Everything is Pill Method. That's our branding.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And thank you for coming up to the stage and asking a question. Does anybody else have a question? I love it when I can get questions. Or if you have an idea for a show idea, I'd love to get that. Okay. Jamie Scott wants to know, how does that work with credit cards? Jamie, it's awesome with credit cards. Awesome with credit cards because we get to understand how credit cards really work. You see, if you don't understand the full problem, you can't come up with a better solution or the best solution. You need to understand what's really going on with credit cards to defeat credit cards. And our program, we teach you what it means to have a credit card. So for instance, okay, I've got this loan, all right, and I'm going to bring up another loan, all right. I've got $10,000. I meant to hit this. I got $10,000 on a 27% credit card. If you're using this amortization calculator, which you can find at Brett Whistle, BRETTWHISSEL, all credit cards are amortized over 240 months. There you go. And there it is, $10,000. So the amount of interest to 27% really means 2.25% a month. Very small amount. So on a $10,000 loan, if I pay it all off today, I would save $225. $225, that's all. Okay? That's understanding credit cards from that level, from that perspective. But if I put $10,000 on this mortgage, I knock off 46 months and save nearly $43,000 in interest. So learning how to leverage somebody else's money and learning how to even leverage credit card money can be awesome for you. I'm not saying borrow money from credit cards. What I'm saying is knowing how to pay your credit cards back and when to put money on the credit cards and when to put money on the mortgage. Our program does all the math for you and tells you what to do and when. That is how it works with credit cards. We show you how to pay back your credit cards in record time because we show you how much interest you can save. Steve Mack says, how to utilize finances for your advantages despite high interest rates. Ooh. So Steve, you want me to do another show on high interest rates? Is that what I'm hearing? Does anybody want to see another show on how to manage high interest rates? Because anybody who knows me, Angelina says, yes. Steve Mack says, yes, sir. Okay. So maybe next Friday, we could do another show on high interest rates. Okay. High interest rates. So I'm writing that down because I'm gonna give you something here. I'm gonna give you something here. I like the higher interest rates. I can save more money at the higher interest rates than the lower ones. So I'm going to put down. Oh, I got it. High interest rate, low cost. Oh boy, that's going to get some people in the room. Something like that. High interest rates, low cost. I'm gonna work with that title. See if we can come up with a catchy title. Get some people in the room for next Friday. So we have Sunday show ready. We've got a title for Wednesday show, and I got a title for next Friday show already. I want to thank you all very, very much. I've had your ear for an hour and 35 minutes. Kurt thanks you. Kurt, listen, man. Are you in a position? to come on, Mike, and say hi to the people. So sometimes Kurt comes on and gives this little spiel, because I tell you what, Kurt is phenomenal when it comes to this kind of thing. You see my studio set up here? All right, listen, he put in a second camera. He can change the shots for me without me having to do anything. He does all of that. Kurt set this up for me. All right. He set up my whole studio. And he does this for a living. He does it at church. He's the pastor for media at his church. And we're just so fortunate to have him to do what he does. But if you ever want to get your message out live like this, he can give you everything you need. Isn't that right, Kurt?
Thanks so much, Don.
Last couple of minutes, say something to the folks, and if they're interested in how they can leverage this platform.
Live video, man. Yeah. Listen, one of the things I love about working with Don is that the information that he is sharing is invaluable. And I think if you've been here for any of the last hour and 38 minutes, you would agree he has been sharing very, very valuable information. And that's why I love what I do. I get to teach people how to take the value they have, the knowledge that they have garnered over a lifetime of experiences, and share it with the world in mass, share it with the world at scale. Don was able to go on vacation to Dubai, take time off, and these videos continue to work on his behalf. These videos continue to share that message. There's a reason why the Smithsonian is in conversation with YouTube, because YouTube is basically an archive. It is a video archive system that will continue to provide the value that the videos were originally created for, long after those people have stepped off the world stage. And so one of the things I love about live video, not only do you get a chance to share your message at scale and in mass, but you get to share it once here. Somebody asked him yesterday, was it just a day or two ago, will this video be recorded? Will this video stay up here after it's gone, after you've ended the live stream? Yes, it will. In fact, all of them have. And even as you give him more show titles that he's going to be able to go over, that he's going to be able to use in his list, I think it's ingenious. Guys, helping spread the message. People ask questions differently. People come to the room, come to the live show in different ways. The title and how we phrase that is exactly how we pull them in. But those are the things, what he's doing, all of what he's doing, all the things that I get to train people, coach people, teach people how to do, both for ministry, but also for whatever it is they want to share with the world. But I fully endorse the idea that the concepts that you're sharing is far more important than the vehicle. So a lot of times people get hung up on, well, should I do it this way? Should I do it that way? I'm saying live video, live streaming, what you see Don doing now is one of the options that will help you to share your message with the world. And I'm excited about what he's doing here. If anybody wants to tap in with me, my QR code is on the screen right now. It's also that digital card is scrolling at the bottom. So if you would love to tap in with me, it's kirkrnugent.com/card. Just hit me up there. I know that folks on Clubhouse are probably scratching their heads right now. How am I hearing another voice coming through Don's mic? That's what we set up. We set it up with the Rodecaster Pro in his office. We set it up with his iPad so that not only can you hear him, but you can also hear me, as I am in StreamYard and Don is in both StreamYard and Clubhouse. And it's something that we had to figure out together. Sometimes it's like that, right? Sometimes we have to figure these things out together. But your requirements will be different than any of my other clients, and we'll figure those things out together, because again, your message is unique. And if you feel impressed and convinced that your message is one that needs to be shared with the world, I'd love to have 15 minutes with you. Scan that QR code right at the top. It says let's meet, and you'll be able to grab 15 minutes on my calendar. Don, I want to say a word of thanks to you for, you know, always plugging what I do. I think, you know, that old adage from BNI, the go-giver, man, you embody that so well. Everybody that comes to the stage, you always give them an opportunity to share what they do, even though it doesn't have anything to do with finance. So I'll end by saying this, kind of bring it back to the topic. Even though I am a producer for this show, in fact, Don's wife joking with me the other day saying that you could probably present this thing better than she can, because I listen to it more than she does. But even though I am a producer for the show, I am also a client. I have my own opportunity cost calculator. Don is my financial coach, and we meet with him regularly to go over how the month, day, and year we will be debt free. And I log in from time to time just to look at that number and to be encouraged. It is something that I feel every family in the world should have access to. And I'm glad that we're able to use this platform in this way to get it out like that. So, Don, I'm sending it back to you. And I appreciate you for giving me some time to kind of chat it up with the folks today.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Kurt. Listen, man, I appreciate everybody coming in today. We're going to be back here on Sunday. Now, remember, Sunday we're going to be in the mortgage syndicate, and Sunday's show is going to be real estate investors. ICE says focus on interest cost, not interest rate. So we're going to be talking about that. And on next Wednesday, we're going to be talking about how to change your perspective on credit. And next Friday, high interest rates can mean low interest cost. Oh, you need to hear about that. How a high interest rate can actually mean low interest costs and get you out of debt even faster and cheaper. Listen, we're going to hear from Dr. Eric Thomas one more time before we say goodbye to everybody. And then we're going to go out today with Eric Thomas and our outro music. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We're going to be right back here Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 8:30 Central. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down from my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.